These are the best attack strategies for every Town Hall level. Regardless of your skill level, there is something here for you. So watching every strategy will help improve your 3-star success. If you do find this video helpful, consider supporting me with my creator code and subscribing for more quality Clash of Clans videos like this. Before getting to some of the higher Town Hall levels, here is a list of the best attacks for Town Hall 2 to Town Hall 8. These attacks are very simple and are self-explanatory. Each of these include the best clan castle troops that you should be bringing alongside the best hero equipment if your attack has heroes available. Other than that, let's move on. Starting with Town Hall 9, where we see the Sui Lava Loon. This strategy is mainly focused on removing the enemy CC and the enemy queen as early as possible with your heroes. So we're going to start with the baby dragons in order to set a part of a funnel. This is going to allow us to get ourselves in where we can use a root rider within the CC in order to get ourselves into the base and provides support as a tank. We can use a skeleton spell to distract the enemy queen and other defenses around there while we continue to push deeper in with our barbarian king, archer queen, and the root rider from the CC. This is going to allow us to pull the enemy CC. In addition, we've already dealt with the enemy queen, and we're going to be able to open the core of the base with the earthquake boots and spiky ball, as this is going to set our lava loon up by a lot. This is going to clear a lot of value within the core of the base with our heroes, so that way the lava loon portion just has the perimeter to work around. So with your heroes getting massive value, you're going to then send in your lava loon portion. With one lava hound and a couple groups of balloons right behind, this is going to allow you to start pushing in. You should use another lava hound with a couple groups of balloons as well, but you should also be using haste spells. This is to get your balloons to key defenses or to splash damage defenses like the wizard towers. Other than this, you can also bring a heal spell to keep your balloons healed up and all ready to go. You can use a rage spell that can also provide a ton of support for your balloons, and you've got free spells which can do a lot of work at stopping key defenses, air targeting defenses, or even air defenses. Other than this, it should be pretty overkill, especially with hero equipment. Just make sure that you have cleanup with the minions and the lava pups, and you should get a 3-star very easily. With Town Hall 10, we see the Hog P.E.K.K.A strategy being the best, and it's one of my favorite armies, where we're going to be starting off with using 2 P.E.K.K.As with 2 wizards on each side of your funnel. This is enough to establish enough of a funnel to get your heroes with the wall wrecker and some P.E.K.K.As and wizards to push in. This is an incredibly powerful push for a Town Hall 10, and without the log launcher, this is a perfect strategy, as you can open up the base with the spiky ball and earthquake boots, while also providing a ton of support with the use of super wizards within your CC. Keep in mind that you do want to make sure that you are using a heal spell on them in order to prevent them from dying so early. This allows you to clear a large area off the base while having a rage spell within the core in order to help your super wizards get a ton of value. This really then sets your attack up with the hog riders to push through the rest. Now, similar to that of the lava loon, you are going to surgically place in your hog riders with a couple hogs per group in order to keep everything together. Keep in mind that you should use heal spells over splash damage, so usually giant bombs or bomb towers are ideal. As you work yourself around, if there are defenses on the outside of the base, you should be using hog riders throughout in order to make sure that you're able to get them all together into a group. Other than this, just keep using heal spells over splash damage, and if you have any spells like freeze, they're really good at providing a lot of support for your hogs. Other than that, just make sure that you have some cleanup minions, and you should be good for an easy 3-star. At Town Hall 11, we're seeing the Zap Witches being one of the strongest strategies, and for good reason. We're going to start with the Zap Quake. Typically, you're going to take 4 lightning and 1 earthquake for Inferno Towers. However, if there is an Expo within that compartment, you may want to consider running 5 lightning and 1 earthquake on each of these defenses. You're going to take 2 lightning in your CC, and you'll use one of those with your 4 lightning and 1 earthquake to remove the Inferno and Expos if they're close together. This allows you to clear a large portion of value, saving everything else for your witch portion. Now from there, we're going to send in our golems, a couple witches, and an ice golem to provide a funnel for our main army. We're using the log launcher here because we're going in for the Eagle Artillery. With 2 Infernos out of the way, the Eagle Artillery is the final major defense we need to remove. So with the log launcher and heroes and a couple witches moving into the base, this is what we want in order to remove the enemy Eagle Artillery and then start charging into the core of the base, while having the Eternal Tome and Rage Gem to provide a lot of support for our witches. As we get into the core, we should use the Eternal Tome in order to protect everything, and we can easily deal with the enemy CC with the use of a poison spell or even with an Electro Titan. With the king in the core of the base, we can use the Earthquake Boots and Spiky Ball to nuke large chunks of buildings out of the way, but also opening up the base for the witches, skeletons, and heroes to just finish off everything. This allows you to get a large part of value while you're within the base with your witches, and this really is not defendable. So this is a strong strategy I heavily recommend that you use, because more often than not, you will 3-star every Town 11 with this army. At Town Hall 12, we see the Blizzard Lalo being one of the best and most consistent strategies here. Pretty much, we're going to start this off with the Blizzard, where we're going to be using the Lava Hound to tank and the Battle Blimp. In this case, we don't have to fight a sweeper, but in some cases, you may want to use a free spell to stop the sweeper. Other than this, use an invisibility once you get to the landing spot, a rage spell, and time your invisibility spells every 4 seconds. The goal here is to remove the Town Hall, lure out the enemy CC, and possibly take part of it down, and get as much value from the Blizzard as you can. Other than this, this is going to establish part of your funnel for both the Lavaloon and the heroes, so you can get and extend the value of that Blizzard with your hero dive. With that said, you're going to then use that said hero dive with the Ice Golem, the Barbarian King, and the Archer Queen. In this situation, you're going to be able to get plenty of value from something like this, especially when you have the Spiky Ball, the Earthquake Boots, and of course having the Queen with her healer puppets and Magic Mirror. This is going to just establish much more funneling, and it's going to allow you to have much better pathing with the Lavaloon. You just want to make sure that you're getting rid of as many defenses as possible, especially key defenses like Inferno Towers, maybe the Eagle Artillery, or even things like Expos. For the most part, it's all about creating that pathing and getting enough value, especially removing something like the enemy Queen, so that way you can start your Lavaloon portion. With the hero dive getting massive value, you're going to then start your Lavaloon portion with 1 Lava Hound and a couple groups of balloons in order to start pushing your way in. You should also have the Grand Warden moving in at this point with the Life Gem equipped. Additionally, you should also have another group of balloons and a Lava Hound in order to provide even more as you merge that group together. Of course, as you work in, you should be using haste spells to provide a lot of value with your push in, and using free spells over splash damage defenses. With your Grand Warden, you should be using an Eternal Tome around the core of the base in order to keep all of your balloons protected as they work around. With that being said, you can still use your free spells over other defenses other than splash damage ones, like the air defenses, and of course you do want to make sure that you are freezing up wizard towers to prevent the wizard tower from removing your balloons. Other than that, just make sure you have cleanup from things like leftover headhunters, lava pups, and minions, and you should be fine. As for Town Hall 13, we're actually seeing the Queen Charge Hybrid as being a very strong strategy. We're going to start off with the Queen Charge though first, so make sure that you are setting up funneling. So while the Queen is working herself in with a wall breaker to provide some support, get out. So while the Queen's job in this situation is to remove something like a couple enemy heroes, the enemy CC especially, and then of course any other value, this is really what you should be doing. In addition to this, you should be using a couple balloons every so often, especially on the outside as you work in, is to look for Seeking Air Mines. This is massive as you'll lose healing if you don't use those balloons, and you do find Seeking Air Mines, but with your healers. Other than this, you're going to let your Queen continue to work through with her Frozen Arrow, while the Barbarian King, as long as you establish a nice funnel and get him into the base, you can use the Spiky Ball and Earthquake Boots to clear a larger area towards more of the back end of the base, which can provide a ton of value, and you can clear out other key defenses if possible. Other than this, you should be able to set one side of your funnel with your Archer Queen by clearing out the enemy CC and a couple other defenses, while also having the Barbarian King to help expand that funnel and expand that value, allowing you to set the other side of your funnel with the Siege Barrack in order to basically cut off the funnel for your hybrid, which is incredibly important because after all is said and done, this is going to have enough pathing for you to send in your hybrid. With your funnels set, you're going to spam in the Miners, the Hog Riders, the Warden, and the Royal Champion. With everything else left up in this army, you'll have more than enough power. Even against something like an anti-2-star base, where we didn't get our Queen to go in for the core, we're going to use an early Grand Warden ability in order to keep everything alive, and having the Healing Tome, it very much helps. We'll use a heal spell within the core, while also using a free spell to stop the Scatter Shot and the Town Hall. In this case, we're going in on the side of the Town Hall, allowing us to get plenty of value even if we have to go through the Town Hall, as we have a heal spell for that back end. Other than this, the Rocket Spear with the Royal Champion is going to provide a ton of value, and as long as you have a couple cleanup troops and a couple of your other troops alive, you should be able to 3-star. Now at Town Hall 14, I would have said something is the best with the Druids, but now Hydra is one of the better options for Town Hall 14. And this is super simple because we're starting with the Giant Arrow to remove air sweepers instead of air defenses. You can still go for air defenses, but the goal here was to remove the sweepers since they were pointed in the same direction. So now that we have the Giant Arrow completed, the Queen and the Barbarian King can be used for funneling, with the King on one side with the Spiky Ball and the Vamp Stash, while the Queen has the Giant Arrow with the Healer Puppets. The Healer Puppets with the Queen will establish a small Queen Walk and will allow you to set a funnel. This is perfect because now you have controlled your dragons into the base. From there, you're going to spam in your Hydra with the Rage Gem at the ready to provide support for your Hydra, which is very nice, while also in addition having the balloons move in and looking for any Seeking Air Mines. You do want to try and delay the Warren ability as long as possible, especially with the blimp, so that way you can clip everything, you can deal with the enemy CC, and you'll have the blimp dive in for the Town Hall. There is a tornado trap you do have to worry about in this situation, but you do want to make sure that you're using your clone spells separated so that way you can get plenty of value from your cloned balloons outside of just the Town Hall. Other than this, you should be able to clear a large area off the base with the cloned balloons, with the dragons, and of course, you have your back end Royal Champion. So while the dragons are moving around, the Royal Champion with her Seeking Shield and Rocket Spear can finish off a lot of these other major defenses and even air defenses in the process, and can very easily help you get a triple. Since this attack is a pretty fast one and uses dragons, you don't need any cleanup and you will be able to successfully 3-star more often than not, but you can use the Super Archer Blimp instead of the cloned balloons if you're more of a fan of that. Now, as for Town Hall 15, the Electro Titan Smash is still objectively one of the strongest options. This doesn't even need the use of a Zapquake, as we're using 2 Giants and the Siege Barrack on one side of the base, which is going to carve out a solid funnel. We're going to use some Super Barbarians and the Grand Warden Walk with healers in order to establish the other side of our funnel. This is a very quick and easy way to set up a funnel with the Super Barbarians and the Warden Walk, as this then allows us to have our Electro Titans to move through the middle. Just keep in mind that if you are still wanting to use Druids, you can still do so, but you might not be able to have that Grand Warden stay alive through heavy DPS. So with that said, you're going to spam in your Electro Titans, balloons to look for Seeking Air Mines, your Archer Queen, and Barbarian King to move in. These 2 jump spells are going to be able to give you access to the core of the base, which is super important. And within something like this, you'll want to make sure that you're using the Eternal Tome early in order to provide a lot of support. And with your Barbarian King, you can have the Spiky Ball and Earthquake Boots to open up a large area. Having a Skeleton spell as well to distract something like the Monolith early allows you to get yourself in, have the Electro Titans provide support, have your Queen provide support, and you're just going to overall be able to keep yourself moving, replenishing the healers with the healer puppets, etc. Overall, you should be able to clear through a large area off the base with your Electro Titans. This also has the Royal Champion come in towards the back end of the base with a Rocket Spear to provide a lot of support and clear out other key defenses like the Inferno Towers and Scatter Shots, which really does help throughout the rest of the army. Overall, you really should have a lot of consistency with this Electro Titan army, as it's still incredibly powerful. And as for Town Hall 16, the Super Witches are still one of the best strategies in the game. Whether you use Druids or healers, this is still really strong. In this situation, we're going to use the Grand Warden Walk in order to clear out some other defenses, and using 3 invisibility spells on close by defenses with the Fireball and 2 Earthquake spells to clear a large area right by the Town Hall. This is going to establish one side of our funnel, which makes it really easy for us to start moving in for that Town Hall. In this case, we'll use the Siege Barrack with the Yeti and a couple Wizards in order to set up one side of our funnel. Once a good funnel in this situation is set from your Siege Barrack and from the Yeti and Wizards, you're then going to go ahead and send in your Super Witches. Now, with both of your funnels set, you're going to then, of course, lure the Warden over with the Queen or Super Witches as you work yourself in. Of course, you just want to make sure that as you're working yourself in, you've got Super Wall Breakers to help you do that. And of course, you're sending in your Barbarian King as he has a Spiky Ball and Earthquake Boots. Now, if you're using Druids, you do want to surgically place them every so often. Healers have the nice benefit of just staying alive, but you do need Cocoa Balloons to look for Seeking Air Mines. So rage spells in this situation are going to be used a little bit closer to your main army, so that way the healers can stay within the rage for longer and still providing support for your main attack. As for the druids, you just need to separate them and space them out a little bit more. Other than this, you just want to make sure that you are using the earthquake boots within the core of the base, providing a lot of support, while you have your back end royal champion providing support with her rocket spear. Other than this, the rage spells are just way better timed with the healers, and they provide a lot of support with your super witches. But other than that, as long as you have a little bit of cleanup, you should be able to 3-star more often than not. Of course, though, if you do want to see the easiest attacks for every town hall level, I recommend checking out this video right here.